What is up, and welcome back, Raider Nation. Today's podcast, we're getting into the big Week 2 matchup. That is less than 24 hours away, man. The Raiders, they're heading east. They're going to face the old rival in the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one runs deep, so in today's show, that's what we're going to talk about, this pregame matchup, game preview. Before we kick off this show, though, make sure you hit that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, drop some thoughts in the comments. Get engaged in this football discussion here on YouTube, man. You might like Raider Dave. You might like Raider Dave, so let's give him a chance here. But anyway, you can find these shows audio format, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, many other platforms. Just drop GrimeCast in that search bar, and you look for that smooth, silky voice that you hear right here, man, and we'll get you dialed in with some coffee, you name it. Maybe a couple podcasts a week. I can't make promises, so let's get into this. As the Raiders, they head to Heinz Field, man. Both teams are 1-0. You got the sleazy, ugly, yellow, no good, terrible towel, man. It's a no good, terrible towel. They're going to be trying to frickin' flaunt that thing. They're going to try to distract this team. That's what they got, man. They're also going to try to say Steelers Nation on top of that, so make sure you blot that out, the mindset, man. Make sure they know it's Raider Nation for life over here. But anyway, and it's original. That's how it still irks me, man. Even going back, they brought that thing to Oakland in 2018. Hey, Raiders got that win, though. John Gruden, let's build on that. So anyway, a few things you need to know about this matchup, though. Josh Jacobs, the Raiders will be without Josh Jacobs in this game. He's got a toe and ankle injury. You just knew it leading up from the Week 1 practices that Jacobs was banged up, man. And the Raiders, of course, they got Kenyon Drake, man, who can step in. You know, the guy's a veteran. He can handle the duties. But another one, Richie Incognito. They are without him for Week 2, second straight week. You didn't see much of him last year. It's looking that way in 2021. They are banged up on the offensive line. You know, Denzel Good went down in Week 1. He's gone for the year. That was probably one of the more promising offensive linemen on this roster. A good find by John Gruden. I mean, you're letting go a guy like Rodney Hudson and Gabe Jackson go in the offseason. This does hurt this team, man. So, but another one, Nick Kwiatkowski, man, he's out with a concussion. You know, we saw Kwiatkowski out there quite a bit last week, so the Raiders will be without his services. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be a little bit harder on the defense. You know, and you guys know most of the injuries, you know, going down the list, you know, as far as Gerald McCoy, you know, he was basically presumed out for the season, being carted off the field. It did not look good. So you guys already know that information's been confirmed. They did sign Damian Square, former undrafted free agent from the Philadelphia Eagles, former Charger, former Chief. You know, we'll see if he has any impact, but I'm looking forward to Jonathan Hankins, man. I've always liked the services of Jonathan Hankins, man. He's done a solid job since the day that he was assigned to this roster. And then you guys already know Marcus Mariota, he's going to be out multiple weeks. Yannick Ngakoue, man, he's expected to play. If you guys remember on Tuesday, I believe I dropped a podcast, so I wasn't too concerned about his injury. It just going off the vibes on the sideline. Didn't seem like they were too shell-shocked over there. But as far as the Steelers go, they got some injuries. Defensive tackle Carlos Davis, he's going to be out for this game. Joe Hayden and Devin Bush, they're both listed as questionable for this game, but most likely those guys will play. And then just some game notes here. This game is going to be the 30th time these longtime bitter rivals square off, man. The Raiders, they lead the all-time series in those matchups, 16 games to 13 games, so the Raiders got the 3-game edge there. The last matchup that I brought up earlier, that was in Oakland, December 9th of 2018, and the Raiders beat the Steelers 24-21 in that game. And now here's Ben Roethlisberger's record versus the Raiders, man. It's 2-5. All time. I love this because this goes back to 2006. I don't know if you guys remember, man, but the Raiders, I think it was 2007. They were 0-5. That was when they had Jamarcus Russell. They were 0-5. Pittsburgh Steelers were defending Super Bowl champions. They were 5-0, and the Raiders got that big win. That was the first one against Ben Roethlisberger, and that was bragging rights. I used that game as bragging rights throughout the rest of the season into the offseason. I was like, hey, I know the Raiders are 2-14, but we're building something here. Yeah, that's what I was saying back in 2007. We're building something here with Jamarcus Russell, and the Raiders defeated a Super Bowl champion squad in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that was my momentum. That was my bragging rights. That was all I had back in those days. But, you know, hey, here it is. Now after 13, 14 seasons, the Raiders, man, they're 5-2 versus Ben Roethlisberger. I like that. That's the all-time. That is Ben Roethlisberger. He is 2-5 versus this squad. So that's his worst record since 2006. His worst versus any team. And the only team that comes close, that's the Patriots. He's 4-7 versus the Patriots throughout that time. Hey, not too bad, Raiders. Not too bad, man. I'll take it for this rivalry. But this time, they're coming off a big win on the road versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills, a team I think highly of, man. I think this is a team that could make it to the Super Bowl. I know they didn't look good last week. This Pittsburgh defense did not allow them to do much. So, basically, Pittsburgh is one of the top dogs still in the AFC. And the Raiders are going to have to fight for this win. This is not going to be an easy task. Derek Carr is going to face challenges in this game, just like he did against Baltimore, man. It could be another few quarters of a stalling offense. So with that said, we'll just jump right into the Raiders offense. I mean, this is going to be a tough task versus this Pittsburgh defense. They are stingy. They got a hell of a defense when it comes to the front seven. Even through the defensive backfield, they got all the players in the right places. This is a defense that, in my opinion, plays with great instincts. You know, we know their ability. They have the athletic ability from Cameron Hayward, man. That guy's a pocket breaker. Let me just rephrase that. He's a pure pocket breaker. That guy's getting pressure up the middle nearly every damn play, has his hands up, knocks the ball loose. So this guy has the supporting cast around him. Guys like TJ Watt, you know, he's locked up as one of the higher paid defenders in the league. You got Joe Schobert, Alex Highsmith, Devin Bush, who I like a lot, came out of Michigan a couple years back, Melvin Ingram, as we brought up earlier, Joe Hayden. I don't know how they got that trade done with Cleveland, but what a steal for Pittsburgh there. They get Joe Hayden. You got Cam Sutton. That guy was all over the place last week in breaking up passes. You got Trey Norwood, the rookie. Some people kind of doubt this kid, but I think if the coach has already got him on the field, if a guy like Mike Tomlin has him on the field, they believe in this player. It was mentioned, and he was making plays last week. You got guys like Mika Fitzpatrick out of Alabama. The Raiders had their shot at him a few years back in the draft. So where I see the opportunities for this Raider offense, it's really primarily in the run game. I mean, you're on the road. You need Derek Carr to use his legs in escaping pressure in this one, man. I think Derek Carr is going to be facing a lot of pressure in this game, and they're going to have to implement the run game with 30-plus carries, unlike last week. They had 21 carries against the Baltimore defense. It kind of had to work out that way because they could not establish the run game. I mean, Josh Jacobs got those 2 key touchdowns, but in establishing the run game in this matchup, I think they got to definitely pound the rock 30 times. I mean, you got Kenyon Drake. He's fully capable of handling those duties. And you got Peyton Barber, man. So this offense just needs to drop the hammer when it comes to this unit, this running back unit. Just drop the hammer, give these guys the carry, and try to get your offensive line in a flow. You know, get guys like Alex Leatherwood blocking downhill. You know, get these interior linemen running downhill, get the guards pulling. I view this as an opportunity for the Raiders to implement the run game. Obviously, they had plans with Marcus Mariota to use him as a running quarterback. Maybe this is the time where you ask Derek Carr, hey, we're going to need you to step into that role and use your legs in these moments, because this Pittsburgh defense, you got to respect them. The fans will be on their side on the road. This is where you don't want to get yourself into a situation where that noise becomes a problem in Pittsburgh, especially when you're playing on the East Coast. Now, in the passing game, I think sideline grabs for guys like Ruggs, Bryan Edwards, keeping the ball away from the defenders, you know, keeping them away from these Pittsburgh defenders. You got guys like Joe Hayden who can jump a route. You know, he's quick. Allow these receivers to use their feet. And when I say sweet feet, it's that timing route. It's that chemistry between a quarterback and his wide receivers. You saw it all day with like Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, those types of plays where you're throwing to the sideline and you're only putting the ball where the wide receiver can get it. If we want to see Derek Carr get to that true elite level, we love the comeback victories. We love the completion percentages. By the way, he still completed 66% of his passes, throwing the football, 57 times last Monday? So this is key, man. I really, you know, and some people, man, when Derek Carr throws the ball, oh, well, some of his passes were off early. That's good. I want to see that. And it's crazy, and I know I'm going in a different direction here, but I want to see that. And the reason why I say that is because that's what you want from a gunslinging quarterback. The more he puts the ball in the air, the more they get into a rhythm, and the more it keeps the defense honest. I've been saying this for the last 3-4 years. throw about 5 to 6 deep shots down the field. Even if you overthrow your receiver, even if it's a wasted play, you're still you're sending the message to the defense on the opposing team. You're letting them know, hey, we are not afraid to throw deep, but we're going to do it 5 or 6 times just to keep you honest on the defensive side of the football. And I still think, I've said this over and over, Derek Carr's got to do a better job holding the safety. They got the all-out blitz late in the game, in overtime, Monday night, where he was on his back foot, and he was able to sail that pass to Zay Jones over the top of the Baltimore defense, but that was on an all-out blitz. So this time around, Pittsburgh, they're going to show you blitz. They're going to be fearless on their end. But Derek Carr, the more he gets the opportunities to throw the football down the field, and like I said, even if it's a wasted opportunity, even if you throw the ball 10 yards past the receiver, that timing will eventually come together in a football game at the right moment. And I just always, like I said, I've always felt like the better quarterbacks, they take more risks. And we've talked about that, the plot to take shots, man. Take more shots downfield. I have no problem with that, even if the Raiders are not successful. As far as implementing the run game, that's going to be a key factor. But if this team decides to throw the football 50 to 55 times this game again, I'm totally okay with it. But I do think we're going to see a little bit of a change in the game plan. You're going to see those heavy run sets, double tight end sets. This is where you might get Foster Moreau involved in the passing game or in the red zone. And it might even open up things for Darren Waller, because Darren Waller's going to get, he's going to be the focal point in this defense from the Pittsburgh Steelers standpoint. They're going to be focusing on him. Of course, coming out of the backfield, Kenyon Drake. Guy like Kenyon Drake can open things up, but Hunter Renfrow in the red zone, be looking for him in the red zone. And more of your go-to wide receivers. I know they were trying to catch Baltimore off guard with Willie Snead. It would have been a moment if he would have caught that. But the red zone woes, got to learn from him. Gruden's going to clean that up. And let's get on to this Raider defense here. What do they need to do? I think the Raiders have a slight advantage here on defense. Now, I respect Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know they got some well-known wide receivers in Juju Smith-Schuster. I've never been a really big fan of him. I know he's a good receiver. He's a solid receiver. But once again, I feel like he was overhyped. I really like Chase Claypool. He poses a threat. He's a speedster. They use him in multiple different looks. They've used him on end-around plays. He can get the job done over there. He's had some big games with Ben Roethlisberger there. But I think Deontay Johnson's your primary target. This guy can be a huge problem come tomorrow morning. But I think the Raiders have the advantage when it comes to coaching. I think Gus Bradley, has the advantage in creating looks that could confuse an offensive coordinator like Matt Canada, who was Pittsburgh's quarterbacks coach last year. I mean, this is this guy's first year as the offensive coordinator. I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. They did a good job last week, but most of his experience is at the collegiate level. He's operating with a hot head coach like Mike Tomlin, who's, well proven, well respected in this league. He's got the polished Hall of Fame quarterback in Big Ben Roethlisberger, man, who can audible and create those shifts on the line. They can commit to the run, you name it. I mean, Roethlisberger has been in this league long enough to where he's going to make the right call at the line. They're going to have their run game in place to keep the Raider offense off the field. This Raider offense put up 33 points against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday night, so that's going to be a factor. So I see a heavy run game from Pittsburgh. They're going to go to their primary receiver in Deontay Johnson. They have the supporting cast, as mentioned earlier, in Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster. But the one key thing in this game, you don't want that Pittsburgh defense feeding off that home crowd. So Raider defense has the advantage when it comes to adjustments. I thought Gus Bradley did a good job. He seems very proactive with his players on the sideline. And defense is a must-play spoiler to that. I really think it's going to start up front in the trenches. Guys like Yannick Ngakoue, man, who should be playing in this game. Mad Max Crosby. You got Jonathan Hankins. I know Gerald McCoy was a good addition to this defense. He was a good voice to have in the locker room. Jonathan Hankins, I've always been pleased with his play. I feel like he's been a solid football player on this defense that's been bad, and he's been the actual bright spot on this defense, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. And then the addition of Quentin Jefferson. You saw his effectiveness on the defensive line last week in Week 1, and then Clelin Ferrell, he's going to have to establish some sort of dominance in trying to take over a game. He's got to show up. The number 4 overall pick in 2019, and I know a lot are like, oh, he was a healthy scratch. That's not a good sign. It is not a good sign. But at some point, we just got to knock on wood, say a prayer or something, man. Like, can this guy show us some sort of dominance? Can he be effective? Can he be that player on the road, that defender on the road that steps up big? Man, that's what we're hoping for. So, in the Pittsburgh offensive line, the reason why I brought up that matchup is because this is where, as the Raiders, they're weaker on the offensive line than they were last year. The Pittsburgh offense, they're sluggish, just like the Raiders were in their Week 1 matchup. The difference really came down to a blocked punt to a certain degree, and they did get things going in the second half, as did the Raiders. They got their offense going in the fourth quarter and in overtime. But where I think the Raiders really match up well in the special teams department, man, I think this is where it's going to matter most in this game. Daniel Carlson getting the point opportunities, getting the points that are needed in those situations. A.J. Cole keeping the Raiders in good field position. He had some booming punts last Monday night. We're looking forward to that on the road. I'm looking at a possible Hunter Renfrow huge punt return. Maybe setting up a score, maybe getting the score. Also, blocked punt opportunities. It seemed like Pittsburgh was a little, like I said, they're dealing with they got two rookies on the offensive line. Looked like Buffalo had a couple of block opportunities in that game. You got guys like Jonathan Abram, Derek Carrier, Corey Littleton, some of the bigger dudes coming off the edge. Corey Littleton may be coming up the middle. It looks a little weak in the interior. Maybe this is where Corey Littleton shines on special teams, getting a blocked punt. And they're facing a rookie punter there in Pittsburgh as well. So a lot of scenarios there on special teams. But anyway, I'm going to always predict a Raider victory. And I'm going to say the Raiders, they come out on this one just as they did in 2018, 24-21. The Raiders get the win. So with that said, drop in your thoughts, man. Give me your thoughts about the Raiders possibly going 2-0. 2-0 in the AFC. That could be huge. Last year was different. They were 2-0 in the NFC. This is a bigger opportunity here for this team to make their run for the playoffs. And I know it's early in the season. It's only week 2. But long term, add a game. You got the 17-week schedule now. 18-week total schedule, but 17 games played. A lot to factor in. A lot of adjustments. These teams, man, they overthink on pretty much everything. There's so much strategy that goes into NFL football. So once again, there's so much open-mindedness to discuss. Give me your thoughts. I'm Raider Dave. I'm going to close this one out. Peace.